Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is under severe pressure at Manchester United. Odds with bookmakers Bet Victor have been slashed from the start of the season around the 60 to 65 to 1 mark down to as low as 6 to 1 to be the next manager to leave his position. Of course, 2 back-to-back games in the Premier League, Man United failed to win at home, the defeat to Aston Villa, and of course the terrible draw really against Everton where we dominated large proportions of the game, the poor performance against Villarreal and losing to Young Boys, sort of tipped off really with going out of the League Cup, seen as one of the only real plausible trophies that Man United could win this season, all gone in the matter of weeks. The pressure is mounting each and every single day against Ole, and now comments from the club and information from the club have been leaked. How you want to interpret them is open to yourself. People are looking at it from very, very different angles. Pete O'Rourke himself has come out today and said that Ed Woodward 100% has confirmed that Man United are fully committed to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This has been very much echoed by Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano has said that Man United are not panicking, and no, Solskjaer needs time to improve the team, to start and rebuild identity with Cristiano Ronaldo. And of course, Sancho and Rafael Varane have joined. They've gone on to say that the board are currently showing all their confidence in Ole, and they want him, and are with him and expect results to improve after giving him a long-term contract. He says here, the message from Man United is clear. We are not talking to any other managers. We are not planning to change for now. And we are expecting the results situation to change. But this was finalized off and topped off with this comment here. If the situation becomes worse in the coming weeks, the managerial situation may change. And I think that's the element for me that stood out the most. That's the element for me that stood out the most in this. The backing and that we're behind him and we know it's going to take time to turn things around. We expect things to be turned around. The managerial situation could change in the coming weeks. I'm at a point now where I'm trying to remove Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from my thoughts. Because for me, we have a squad that's ready and able to compete for the Premier League and the Champions League. We started this season off across all competitions averagely. We may be sitting in the top 4 and 2 points off of the top, but the performances haven't been consistent enough. The way we're performing, I'm still confident of a top 4 finish. But that shouldn't be the ambitions of Manchester United 3 years into this complete overhaul and rebuild under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Manchester United fans have to be more demanding of him. They have to be more demanding of the football club. And this is why this comes at a perfect and the most opportune moment. For a good year or so now, I have someone that's defended the sacking of the manager, not the ability of the manager. And people have found it very, very hard to differentiate between the two conversations. I didn't want Ole sacked until I felt the club was in the right position to move on to the next coach. And I'm talking processes in place, player profiles in place, transfer structures in place, the hierarchy in a better position than it was, football brains making football decisions, and the squad being in an adequate position to compete. If Manchester United get this right, they simply need to install a manager, a progressive manager, who can make this team, this squad play. Of course, they're going to want to add in the summer 1 or 2 new players. Even existing managers want to add new players every summer. But this is the most perfect opportune moment for Man United fans to be shown by the Glazers, by our board, that we have turned the corner, that we are pulling in a new direction, that we are absolutely trying our best to make us winners on the pitch first, above commercial deals, above income, above sponsorships, above growing the asset valuation, over growing the AUMs at the football club. Winning on the football pitch is of paramount importance. I understand the message that Ole's got to turn things around. But for me, there's a vowed threat and warning within this message. It's publicly, we are backing you, we're fully behind you, which we would expect to hear from Manchester United. But it's those comments there from Fabrizio that stand out massively on this briefing. The club expects the results to change and change quick. And if they don't in the coming weeks, the managerial situation could change. I would fully expect them to be looking and sounding out alternative managers. Only well-run clubs would be doing that at this point. Because I think for me, like a lot of Manchester United fans, there's no more building for Ollie. There is no more cultural reset at the club. That's been done. So I disagree with people that wanted him out 18 months ago when things were being built at the football club. And he was very much at the front of that, consulting and managing, helping to manage the restructure. It felt wrong to remove him then. I now want to see the fruits of that labor. Either Ollie delivers or the club brings in a head coach or a manager that can get us over that finish line. Then we get the true answers to the conundrum. Have Manchester United Football Club truly turned the corner as a football club? Not under the little spell with Ollie, but as a football club, which should always be the bigger picture. So from now on in, it's 100% on the Glazers. Will the Glazers follow through with what they've just said there, what they've briefed Fabrizio Romano with and other journalists around the world? We're behind Ollie, but we expect the results to change. If the results don't change in the coming weeks, we will look for a new manager. That, for me, tells me that Ollie's sacking is close if the results do not change. Now, for Ollie inners, they're defending Ollie and they're not looking at the football club. For Ollie outers, they're just desperate to get rid of Ollie and they're not looking at the football club. Start to focus now on what's right for the football club. Removing Ollie now, it gives us all the answers we need. The type of manager, the fact that we don't need a new rebuild, the fact that we're in a position to win with this squad. We're in a position to win with this squad. And I want to see this club act. So the message that's come out today from Fabrizio and Peter O'Rourke, I'm encouraged by it. I'm encouraged by it because I am not here to defend Ollie over my football club winning. I'm not here to defend a player over my football club winning. For me, that's a base level, top level debate. It's been done now. We've got the squad. We've built the culture. Everything's ready to go. We just need somebody at the helm who is good enough now to get us over that finish line. And Man United sitting on 14 points is not good enough at this stage. Manchester United at this point should be somewhere between 18 to 19 points in this league due to the quality of teams that we've played. And I said this yesterday, and I got into a bit of a debate with people on Twitter, and all clubs at different stages. The frequency of which Manchester United, Arsenal, as an example, they're the biggest two culprits in the Premier League. Over the last 10 years, the frequency of which and regularity of which we lose points to the smaller or lesser clubs. And when I say lesser, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm talking about money, reach, and power in the game. I had a few Brighton fans kind of call me out for referring to them as a lesser club. Can Brighton sign Champions League level football players without Champions League football? My opinion is no. Arsenal and Man United can, and they've proved it over the years. That's the power I'm talking about. When someone then said to me, but spending money isn't a guarantee of success. Of course it isn't a guarantee of success. Of course it isn't a guarantee of success. But the expectation of success should be there. If I spend £500 million on my squad and I'm spending £200 million a year on my wages, of course my expectation should be higher than a club that spent £80 million on transfers and has a wage bill of £20 million a year. The fact that year on year, smaller clubs with smaller budgets have created better footballing teams and pound for pound outperformed the likes of Manchester United is an embarrassment. And then you can ring fence it down to these small windows when you're rebuilding again. We all knew under Ollie there was a rebuild. We know at Arsenal right now there's another rebuild going on. But outside of that, the higher expectations need to exist. No one should expect Ollie to have taken over this team and instantly win the Premier League because the squad, the ethos, the culture was wrong. But you build up to it over a 2 to 3 year period. It's built. Now the expectations to deliver in the here and now arrive. But outside of those rebuilds, the expectations always need to remain. That's where we need to be aiming towards. No more normal, do you know what? There's more money in the league. That's okay to keep dropping points to smaller clubs. No, it isn't. It simply isn't with what we spend. It's an embarrassment when you get to this point. United need to act. Ollie needs to act. It's improve consistently, or he must be sacked. If they don't sack him and they just let him stay for top 4, I don't want to hear any more managerial talk about Man United. 100% focus on the Glazers because they're the reason. Proof in the pudding. If we sack Ollie and we go in a new direction, start a new rebuild, again, no more talk about managers. We only focus on the Glazers. If the Glazers instill a manager to pick up the mantle from Ollie, to just implement better attacking football. Ollie tries to attack. Just his team can't quite do it. Bring in a Zidane as an example or an Enrique and we just go to that next level and start winning. We don't need a new overhaul. then I'm somebody that will look at the club and go, do you know what? I've disliked how you've run the club for a long time, but I can see that you've changed. This is now the time where we get to the end of this debate around manager, owner, who's to blame. The actions over the next 3 to 4 weeks should tell all of us the direction our football club, not Ollie, not Ronaldo, not Bruno, but the football club are going in. Because the football club should be at front and center of everything you think and feel in relation to this. I want to take your calls on this matter this morning, on the comments from Fabrizio Romano. I'm going to do some of your comments that are coming in now. Dan here says, Ollie was never the right guy. He was just put there to be a yes man for the Glazers. Well, Dan, again, that's another thing that's labeled at Ollie. The next few weeks will tell us that. If the performances don't improve and we sack him and instill a better manager, but we maintain the same project, the football will improve. But I'm talking, we're not going to go right. We're not doing a 15, 20-man squad overhaul in the next 2 or 3 years. This is your squad. We'll add 1 or 2 players a summer for you. You make us win from this point. If that happens, then Ollie was never a yes man. Ollie was just helping to build this platform for someone better to take us forward from. If, for instance, we rip it all apart and start all over again, then I agree with you. It means that Ollie was taken in by the Glazers and kind of push this notion of we're getting there, but they didn't really mean it. But whatever of those things happen, the focus has to be the club and not the manager now. We've got everything where we need to be to win. It's the best squad we've had since 2009. Facts. Let's see if the club want to win, Danny. Let's see if the club want to go out there and actually win trophies over sponsorship deals. Ollie in is what Ads has got to say here. Man United is a mid-table club. Ollie in. Lionel here says, as a 50-year-old United fan who's been supporting the club for 29 years, I've got to say Ollie is the best manager United have ever had. Nice try there, my friend. Nice try. Nice try indeed. You can't just set your own targets for the Glazers, so when it doesn't happen, you can complain. With the amount of money Manchester United spends, the target I'm setting of being highly competitive every season, being in title charges and having a genuine chance of winning the Champions League with what we spend, that is not too high an expectation. If that isn't the Glazers' targets, we shouldn't be focusing on any player, any manager. We should be focusing on the football club and their poor standards. Terry, would you be disappointed if the players down tooled to get rid of Ollie? Yes, I would be, because that isn't the attitude I want Manchester United to have. Because if you enable that type of unprofessional, poisonous, toxic behavior when it suits you, it will come out and bite you in the backside when you're not looking. Don't let the wolf through the door. Do you get where I'm coming from? At some point, it's going to bite you. At some point, it's going to hurt you. So allowing that type of behavior at a football club is wrong. Like, legitimately, if I was running the football club and I saw the players are downing tools for Ollie, not we were failing to win, but downing tools, I would bring in a new manager, but I'd look to move that player on and I'd send out a message. The ringleader would be, boom, get out of my football club. That would be my take on it. But there we go. Orlando here says, Terry, I told you and KJ with Ollie, Martial and Maguire, this wouldn't work. Martial on the way, Ollie should follow. And listen, to be honest with KJ and I, we both said that we weren't sure about Ollie. We both said that we didn't think Ollie was the right man to get us over the line. My point still remains. A lot of people are telling me, like, Terry, you've changed your mind on Ollie. Not on a coaching level. But for me, it was, can we get this squad into a position where it can win? 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been happy for a top-class manager to come in. I wasn't convinced then the club was going in the right direction. I'm still not 110% convinced. This action will prove to me whether we are or not. Orlando here with a super chat says, we have already made a squad for Zidane. And that's exactly the point. There is a squad for Zidane now. There is a squad for someone to come in. A couple of years ago, I remember whoever it was that got sacked before Hansi Flick came in. And I saw a lot of United fans say, see, this is how big clubs operate. A manager struggles, you get rid of him and bring somebody new in straight away. Look, they want a treble. But the structure was there to plug the manager into it. And that's the point, the part of this debate that's been missing. Whenever I spoke Ollie in or Ollie out, nobody's wanted to focus on, but what's this new manager walking into? Is it a stable foundation to grow from? Without a stable, solid foundation, it was always going to fall down. We've been told by the club that it's built now. the way we've operated looks like it's been built now. The speed of the way we acted to land Ronaldo and Varane are prime examples of that. The squad is brilliant now. The wage structure has been fixed now, as in we're not overplaying for certain people and underpaying others. We've got a team of winners from front to back. We've got world-class players in every department of the football pitch now. Now, this is where we see what the club's all about. Does the club now go, right, let's bring in a world-class manager and not start a rebuild? We have a club ethos. It's Man United's way that managers come in to manage, not Solskjaer's way, Zidane's way, Conte's way. That can't exist anymore at Man United. That old mentality that we had under Fergie, where Fergie, it's all done in Fergie's image, is gone. It can't happen. None of the big clubs operate in that way. None of the successful clubs operate in that way. And right down to the clubs like Brighton and Leicester, as an example, are better run clubs than Manchester United and Arsenal. And it's because they have a club way of doing things. And if you notice now, with Leicester, they don't always get their managerial appointments right. It doesn't mean a club can't make mistakes. But they went from one manager to another, and the improvement's almost instant because there's a club foundation and base to work from. Brendan Rodgers didn't have to go into Leicester and build the club from the ground up again. He just took over from that squad, implemented a different style of play in this regard, but the base was still there. The profile player was still there. They just got it wrong with Claude Puel. Getting the managerial appointment wrong is an easy fix compared to having to overhaul a whole system that's been created. You don't need a new system. You don't need a new system every time somebody walks in. Terry, Ollie has destroyed my soul. I want Zidane, is what Jayling's fams got to say here. Oh, sorry, I missed that one there. Sorry. With world-class players, with world-class players, then there is McFred. No, there is. I totally get where you're coming from, and that's maybe why another reason for the new manager. Ollie is a rebound manager, like when you've had a bad breakup and you're with someone to feel good for a bit, but you know it ain't long term. I actually like that analogy. I think it's kind of true that there is an element of that. Like, this person helps you rebuild. This person's almost like when you normally friend zone this person, but you actually need someone safe. You need someone that isn't going to mess you about, that you don't care. I know we all care about Ollie as a player, but you don't care to lose too much. Like, there isn't the heartache if it falls apart. I actually think it's a brilliant analogy. You're absolutely right. They help rebuild you. Fabrizio has already debunked this. Glazers love Ollie. He's here to stay. Look, the Glazers have come out wholeheartedly, absolutely wholeheartedly, and said that they've come out wholeheartedly and said that they're backing him. We know that. We know that's what has been said. But they're always going to come out and publicly back him. They're never going to come out and publicly say he's under pressure. But listen to the words that Fabrizio Romano used. Just go through them and listen. And this, one of the biggest takes was this. These were Fabrizio's words here. The message from United is so clear. We are not talking with any other manager. We are not planning to change now. The word now was thrown in. And we are expecting the results situation to change. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to read through the vowed message in there. The vowed message is, we're not talking to any manager or looking to change Ollie now. But now means in the present. Firstly, they won't talk to any manager. They'll talk to intermediaries. So they're not lying there. They're not planning to change now, but they expect the results to change. If you're happy with everything that's going on, you don't expect the results to change, do you? Think about that. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to stop KJ hosting Midnight Vibes. I'm not saying KJ's safe for now, but the views have got to go up soon. That's a vowed message. That's saying get the views up or it's gone. That's how you threat without being aggressive. That's a polite way of saying pull your socks up. That is the message there. And then the final piece is, if the situation becomes worse in the coming weeks, the managerial situation may change. The Glazers have been clever here. Woodward has been clever here. They've left the door open to sacking him. They've left the door open to sacking him without saying we're going to sack him. Now, if you're an Ollie inner, you say, Glazers are backing him. If you're an Ollie outer, it's, I can't believe they're backing him. Wake up and read the room. Wake up and read the room. Wake up and read the room. Jayling's here. Terry, do you think Ollie will get sacked this season? I'm unconvinced. I'm unconvinced with the mentality of our football club, and I'm talking board level, not fans. If we continue to perform like this and drop points like this, we will be mathematically out of a title race. Morally, I already think we're pretty much there. When you look at the way City and Liverpool play, when you look at the way Chelsea play, we're not on that level. We're just below it. But if they're happy, we kind of got, again, this weekend, we got a bit of a get out of jail free card. We lost points at home, but with the City and Liverpool draw and all the teams kind of pushing for top four behind us, kind of slipping up and dropping points, we maintained our position. If we maintain our top four position, but don't really challenge for that title race and just finish fourth, and the Glazers are happy with that, again, there's no more focus ever on Ollie for me, as in where the big problem is. That should be the proof for everybody to say, the club are just happy with this, aren't they? Let's go in and then it's cancel your season tickets, buy no merch, protest, break into the ground again, whatever you've got to do to get the Glazers to behave like a proper club. That should for me, should be where the focus is. I don't think it will be from fans, but that's just my take. I'm going to open up the lines now for you to all come on and have your say. Keep those super chats coming in as well. Let me just put this link in the comment section, my people. Yeah, right. Let's share that now. That link's now shared if you want to call in and have your say on these words from Fabrizio. How have you read them? What do you think and feel in relation to that? Terry Shiny Forehead here says, so like usual, Ollie is going to have a couple of good forms like usual. Then the Glazers are going to be happy with him again. Ollie in forever then. And again, if what you're saying is true, then Ollie shouldn't be your focus. If what you're saying is true, the Glazers are your focus. So for me, when it says that the results changing, I'm not looking for Ollie to have a good run to go, he's good enough now. I'm looking for Ollie to turn this team into a club, turn his players and his team into winners. And having a good 3 or 4 weeks, and then another bad 2 or 3 weeks, and then a good month, and then a bad 2 weeks, and a good month, and a bad 2 weeks, you're never winning anything. You're never winning a damn thing. And that's where the focus needs to be, in my opinion. But I still think United fans will focus on the easy option, which is the manager. I still think they won't want to focus on the real problem at the football club, which could be the Glazers. And I say that because I say could be. They could do the right thing here. They could do the right thing here and instill the right people and show us they're going in the right direction. Then you'll see my opinion up towards and change slightly, because I can't be a hypocrite. I can't say make winning the most important thing at the club, and then when they make winning the most important thing at the club, me not praise them. But it isn't just about spending money. It's about the club's plan. As I alluded to earlier on in the stream, spending money isn't a guarantee of success, but it raises the expectations. I'd rather the club, by the way, spend less if our expectations are lower. Spending like we're trying to win a title, but not actually trying to win a title is so frustrating. Why are we spending that money to reduce the corporate tax bill or something? Like, why are we doing it? I know businesses sometimes like to say, do you know what? I'd rather buy a new computer for the office than give the money to the tax man. Is that what we're doing? Let's just buy a Ronaldo because it'll get shirt sales up. And I'd rather spend the money we have than give it to the tax man. What are we doing it for? I don't get it. If you're not trying to win the league, stop spending the goddamn money. First on the show with me today is going to be Fixer to have his say. Welcome back to the show, mate. What's on your mind?
Yo, well, basically, I just wanted to say, I told you, man. Remember when I was calling earlier in the season and I was telling you that this manager is basically a shit manager, but nobody wanted to listen. Everybody's like, oh, Fixer is hated, but the fact of the matter is, let me just tell you the situation, right? Solskjaer has gotten what he wanted, right? He has his contract, right? He has a 3-year contract. Who is Jesse Black? Anyway, he has a 3-year contract, yeah, so he doesn't care anymore. Remember, before he got his contract, he was always pandering to players, Pogba and co. Now, he doesn't even care about Pogba. He's benching Pogba now because anyway you look at it, he's got what he wants. Even if we sack him today, he walks away a rich man, Solskjaer is showing his true colors now. He's showing he's the boss now.
Let me just stop you for a minute, please. The focus isn't Ollie now. The focus is, why are you not putting pressure on the Glazers?
The Glazers haven't done anything. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I know everybody says the Glazers, but what has the Glazers done that is wrong? They got him Ronaldo. They
hang
got
on,
him
hang on,
Varane.
hang on, hang on.
They got him Sancho.
Hang on, you're missing the point. Ollie can't sack himself. I get your point. So you've said it on about 5 streams now. Ollie isn't the man. We get that. So where is your pressure on the people to sack him? You calling Ollie shit doesn't get him sacked.
Go for the
club. Go for the club.
They'll sack him. Terry, the way Manchester United works here, we work. Our lifeblood is interactions, right? The fans, now that the fans are beginning to turn on Ollie, eventually he will get sacked.
Okay.
People are saying top 4. It has nothing to do with top 4.
Again, I want to get some proper answers out of you. So, when do you think the club are going to sack him?
Well, very soon. If he keeps messing up this season, if he doesn't like everything, forget about top 4. Everything depends on the movement. Because United bleeds. Our lifeblood is the social media interactions. That's what they're going to look at.
So so I want to get some. I need to get some answers out of you here. So you say very soon. When? And do you think they're sacking him to win trophies, or what? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, Manchester United are just going to follow whatever the fans, because the fans are the ones who pay the bills at the end of the day.
So what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is once the negativity from the fans gets to the boiling point, like they did with Mourinho could have still gotten to a 4. Nobody can say he couldn't have. But once it gets to that point where there's no return, once they see from their interactions that the fan opinion against social is so negative that there's no turning back, that'll be the point when they will sack him. It's all about the fans. You know?
Okay, so again, equally that panicked me even more. See, if I believed what you believed, Ollie wouldn't be my focus. I'd be shitting myself about Ollie getting sacked, because how can a club rely on Twitter polls to operate?
Well, that's how Manchester United works.
But think about it from my point of view. You're literally sitting there saying to me, our club makes decisions based on Twitter polls, essentially, right? That should be a much bigger worry for you than Ollie, but it isn't. You're more worried about the manager than you are the running of the club. That's a madness to me. That's why I'm asking the questions, right? Do you think the club are going to instill a manager to pick up the mantle from Ollie, or do you think they're going to start a new rebuild? What do you think they're going to do?
They're going to get Zidane. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get Zidane. We're going to get a manager who's going to come in, who already has relationship with some of the players already at the club, and he's going to take over. But I'm not going to say it's going to last long, because Zidane will come in, or maybe even Conte, 2-3 years, and then they might go. But the fact is, we're going to win trophies in that time. We're going to change from the social, sort of nostalgic manager to the go-getter, professional, I'm going to win you trophies manager, like we did with Van Gaal and Mourinho. You know?
So again, if that's what we go to do, then you're not going to see a complaint from me. You're going to say, well done. My point of view is this. If we just listen to Twitter polls and then employ Gareth Southgate, or we go, right, because one thing I'd say about Ollie, he does try to play attacking football. We know that by the fact that we had the majority of the ball. Most of the teams that score against us on the counter-attack. You can't score against us on the counter-attack if we're not attacking. Like, literally the word counter-attack for a reason. So I would be happy with that. If we got rid of Ollie tomorrow and instilled a better quality, a much higher quality attacking manager, that sends a good message to me that the club are trying to win trophies. The club are trying to progress from this top 4 finishing team.
Better than Ole.
Well, but no, but they're not. And this is the point I would say to fans. Get out your feelings on we need to sack Ollie. If we're going to sack Ollie, the progression... we need to move forward. It's, for me, sacking Ollie, but bringing in a manager where we start again from scratch, we knock it all down again, is wrong. It isn't, and that's not me protecting Ollie.
That's why we need to get Zidane, somebody who doesn't need that, who doesn't need to
start from scratch. I'm glad you're saying that, but I'm trying to say we need to get out of this basic bitch thinking of we just need to sack Ollie. Sacking Ollie is one part of it. Who comes in next and what the club structure is after that is key. With no club structure, no manager's winning. No manager's winning. Fixer, great call. Man. Good. I'd be happy with him as well. Top man. Thank you. That's the point I'm making, people. Everyone just wants to say, I'm not saying fix it. Oh, just get rid of Ollie. But what next? We need to think carefully. If the club do succumb to the pressure we put on them, let's put the pressure on them to do the right thing. You know, don't bring in a manager that's going to go in a new direction, that wants to do a big overhaul. That is worse than keeping Ollie. Do you know how we know this? We've got numerous examples since Fergie of that happening. To ignore that history and just do it again, you know, we deserve to be relegated if we do it again. And if fans back it, you are a disgrace. Not sacking Ollie. It's what comes after. Everyone goes, no, defending Ollie. Get out your feelings and you engage your brain for 1 minute. It might help. Next on the show, we're going to the True Red Devil. What are you saying? Nothing, but it sounds of it. Next up, Kasim is here with us. What are you saying, bro?
Hi, Terry. Thanks for having me. I love your show. You okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm very, very well, thank you. What do you want to say, buddy?
Yeah, I want to obviously address this issue very, very carefully. I'm a Chelsea fan, as you know. I agree with you to some extent. I think the aim for the owner, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, is to finish top four and win little trophy, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. I think. But when you look at Man United, Ronaldo, Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Sancho as well, 80 million. That the more than FA Cup. They should be with Chelsea and the like of City and Liverpool, you know. And I'm not a big believer of the manager, as you know, but I think you go an issue start from the top because the club ambition is like right beginning of the season. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna win the Premier League. We're gonna prepare all the tools. We'll give to the manager to challenge. And if even you fall short, like second, but we're talking like proper second, it's still challenging. I think the fan base will be pleased with that. But I think it looks like from the top, they got the ambition is top four and FA Cup. And I think it's not about Oli anymore. I don't think he's great, but I don't think it's about. I think the issue is bigger than him, and that's why I wanted to say, mate. Thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem at all. Top man, thank you for coming on, bro. And I agree with the caller. I understand Ollie's issues, and I've been saying them for 18 months. I don't think he's the guy to win us the major trophies. But there's a right and a wrong. I'm looking at this like Harry Potter. Harry Potter they let him live to a certain age just for him to die. He didn't. No spoiler alerts. Doesn't actually die, but they thought he might. We've all seen the bit where he sticks his head in the bucket of water and does the whole memory thing, and Snape says it. You brought him up to die at the most perfect moment, like a pig. That's great. Nearly made me cry, that part of the movie. Very well put together. Even sadder in the books. And that's Ollie. Like, there's a right and a wrong time. Now we get the clear message. There's a comment here that says, Terry, you're wrong. Look at Tuchel and Chelsea. You need a class manager. Yes, we need a class manager. But the progression from Sarri to Lampard as this like interim when they had a transfer ban to Thomas Tuchel was club progression. It's club progression. Tuchel plays a better form of what Frank Lampard was trying to achieve. And I'm not talking identical football, but progressive attacking football. Tuchel does it in a very good way where his base is so strong. People say that he's negative. I don't think he is. He has a strong base and then attacks in the right way. It's just his way of doing attacking football. And they just work hard when they're not in possession, Chelsea. A little bit like Liverpool and City do. You actually watch Liverpool and City when they're out of possession. Look how defensive they get. Work rate's key. But yeah, it's not about bringing in a class manager or not. Antonio Conte is a class manager. Diego Simeone is a class manager. But I believe they would need to rebuild this squad to get their football to work to the nth degree. I don't want us doing that. I don't want us doing that at all. Southgate in is what Gary says. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Terry, you just played it safe with Ollie. Great point. We've only played it safe with Ollie if our next direction is a brand new rebuild. If the next move is just a manager to come in and pick up the mantle and take it on to the next level, then we weren't taking it easy. Ollie was being used from a consultative point of view to get us to a certain point to build the base and the foundation, which has been what I believe the majority of the time. My issue has been whether we continue with that beyond him. Again, my focus is the football club, not the manager. I think that gets... I know it makes sense. I actually know it makes sense to everybody that's Ollie out as well. It's just not as popular. KJ's with me now this morning to have you say, KJ, welcome back, mate. How you doing, bro?
You see people just focusing on Ali. I get it. I do. People like Fixer and other people, I get focusing on Ali. But the people in charge are the ones we should be going after. Should be the ones. They have the power to sack him. Ali ain't sacking himself. So the Glazers need to take the finger out of their asses, stop being pagans, and actually show us this ambition that they've been saying that they've been having. Because you bring in Ronaldo, which you can actually say was that football reasons or was it for commercial reasons? You bring in Varane and you bring in Sancho. If you're not demanding the best from that, there is a real issue with the ownership. And I said this after I think we won a game. And I said, yo, listen, these Glazers need to actually be pulling a finger out their ass. But you can't say that nowadays because apparently it's the protecting Ollie. It's not protecting Ollie. It's trying to get him out of the flipping door. It's like it's literally you're stuck in a building and you're shouting at the door being locked instead of going to the ownership of the building and saying, where are the engineers to fix the door?
Yeah, mate, listen, I totally agree. There's a super chat here that says, you're too naive, Terry. The Glazers are not going anywhere. United is their cash cow, a fat one at that, and you expect fans to boycott, not going to happen. But I'm not naive. I don't expect them to boycott. They should, but I know they won't. So there's no naivety from my part at all. Equally, I agree. I know the Glazers are not going anywhere, and I know they're using us as a cash cow, which is why my overarching thought is always the club. It's always, yes, I'll look at a manager, how is he coaching? I'll look at a player, how is he performing? But if something reaches a certain point, and I think we're at tipping point now for Man United with Ollie, the club's actions become the focus. As KJ said, he can't sack himself. He's only going to perform within his limits. And the point is, if we have no ambition of winning, then I actually would prefer, maybe not Ollie per se, but somebody with Ollie's mentality that's always going to try and do his best for the football club. I'd much rather him than someone like an Antonio Conte who would just go, oh, you ain't doing what I want, I'm going to run and leave. Because it doesn't matter how much I think people expose the Glazers for being bad, fans are still going to buy the shirts, they're still going to buy the merch, they're still going to go to games. So this is why I feel like we're at a crossroads still, and people seem to miss it, and they twist it into Terry's defending Ollie. It's not about Ollie. It's not about any other manager. It's about the football club. Until I am 100% convinced that the club's main ambition is to become the best football team in Europe, to play the best football, to win the biggest trophies, criticizing players and managers is always going to be secondary to me to focusing on what the club is doing. The reason I'm calling for Ollie to go now is I believe we're at the best moment possible for the owners to prove to us they're not using us as a cash cow and they do want to win. Or if they are using us to make money, at least they're going to do it with us winning trophies at the same time, because then it becomes a little bit more palatable, a little bit more acceptable. So there's no naivety from me. I've had this same message for years and years and years now, and I'm not going to yield from it. I'm not going to change on it. I stand by it. And right now we're in a position where if we sack Ollie and bring in the right coach, we could win Premier Leagues, we could win Champions League with someone like Zidane, someone like Luis Enrique, potentially. We don't know how they're going to do in England, how they're going to do with this Man United squad, but this could potentially happen. We may bring in a man. One sec, bro. We may bring in a manager who, after 6 months, a year, says, I'm leaving. The way this club is run into disgrace. Great. That proves my point. It's run badly. It's then over to the Man United fans that just scream about managers to boycott. If they don't, there's nothing more I can do. But I'm proven right, like, oh, I was right and you were wrong. But I know what the root cause problem at this club is. It isn't players and it isn't managers. It's been the way in which we've been run. However, a new manager comes in and we soar forward from here. We maintain the foundation that's been built over the last 3 years. You will see me praise the Glazers for changing their approach, changing their standards, changing what they look at as the most important thing. Because why would I thank them for it or change my mind about them? Because it's what I've been asking for. If I ask for something and get it, I say thank you. I can let go of the past if I see a change to the future. That's how things should be done. I don't think it's naive to think that we should be focusing on the biggest problem at the club, which is the way we're run.
I ain't saying thanks to those pricks for doing their flipping job. But anyway, I'm seeing people in the comments saying the Glazers ain't going nowhere. Why are we saying something, blah, blah, blah. In this moment in time, this is not a Glazers out movement, as much as I would love them to flip and piss off. This is Glazers, do the right thing and do your flipping job. If you can't get them out, demand them to do the right thing and demand them to become the best team in the world. That's all we're asking them to do. Right now, we're not forcing them out. So everyone's saying, oh, we shouldn't focus on the Glazers because we can't get them out. No, we should, because if they're going to stay, at least be flipping good. You know what I mean?
No, and that's the point. It's not about Glazer out. That's what I would want ideally. It's about it's just about the, and do you know what it is, bruv? Ollie outers know what we're saying is 100% true, but it takes away from I was right about Ollie. And it's like, bruv, me and KJ were right about Ollie. That we didn't think he was good enough to win us the major trophies. But it was never about Ollie. It's about what we do from then. And by the way, if we hadn't have bought Varane and Ronaldo this summer, my stance on sacking Ollie now would be very different. If we didn't have a squad that I felt was capable of winning the league, I wouldn't see the point of a bigger manager coming in, because they're only going to leave. They're only going to fail as well. I have to be convinced. And I've said this all along. I've been very consistent for 2.5 years now. I want to be convinced when the next manager comes in that we're doing it to move forward and not to rebuild. Rebuilding every 2 to 3 years is the reason why for 8-9 years now we've been consistently dropping points to smaller clubs. It's the reason we haven't been competing for Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, because we're always in a rebuild. There comes a point where we need to make sure we don't need a club shouldn't need a rebuild every 2 or 3 years. The squad being replenished, yes, not the structure of the club and how we operate being rebuilt every 2 to 3 years. That's a disgracefully run business. You know, I was having this debate with Arsenal fans yesterday that were like, you can't compare Man United and Arsenal situation because we're in a rebuild and you've got a squad ready to win. I'm like, yo, why are we ring fencing your expectations to this last 18 months? All the failed rebuilds before are why you're rebuilding now. You know, when an Arsenal and a Man United are rebuilding in the now, it's because the previous one fucking failed. Like, why are you ignoring that and acting like you're in a great place? Like, it's mad.
It's one of those ones where apparently Arsenal had a better structure than United like last week. And now apparently it's, oh no, the structure's getting rebuilt, the club's rebuilding, we can't have the same expectations. Listen, Man United, Arsenal, Spurs have all got the same issue. They're people who run their football club. And until all the fans start to address that, nothing going to change.
Mate, and do you know what I was saying? One of the final thoughts on this is that, like I say, I believe we built a very good structure under Ole. I believe the way we're buying players, the profiles, and everything else around it, I think it's been very, very good. My fear was always, what do we do when Ole moves on? Can it be maintained? It's part of the reason that I want Ole sacked or moved on or whatever it is, because we get the answers to that question. Because if we maintain what we've built and we just employ managers to run that team, but the club structure stays the same, we will start winning major trophies again. I almost guarantee it. Why do I know that? Because when big clubs with our money are run well, they win things. Or at the very least, they're highly competitive. If there's 2 or 3 teams that can win a league, you're not going to win it every single year, but you're highly competitive. We will then catch up with the juggernauts of Man City and Liverpool. The reason that Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea, the only reason Chelsea have been behind them the last few years is because they had a few years where they weren't being run right, but they've caught them. The well-run clubs with the biggest amounts of money compete for the major trophies. The reason Barcelona are where they are now isn't because players, it's because they were being run poorly behind the scene, which has led to them having weaker players. Look at what went on behind the scenes. You look at the well-run clubs, and then you do it pound for pound. Brighton are one of the best-run clubs in Europe, but pound for pound, they're not going to compete year in, year out with Man United and Liverpools and Chelseas. But for a club of their size and stature and income, what they're doing is on par with what Liverpool and the likes of City do. It's like in boxing. A lightweight can't beat a heavyweight in a boxing fight. Doesn't mean he isn't the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world. You know, and that's why they have a pound-for-pound ranking. And I would love to see some of the brains in football work out a pound-for-pound ranking system for clubs, like almost a points per pound spent expectation, and then work out a league table off of it. Because I guarantee you, the Leicesters and the Brightons and the teams like that will be right up by the top. And it's because we will run as well as those clubs, but with our money and power, with Arsenal's money and power, with Tottenham's money and power in the game, you're challenging for major honours. And that's the point that gets missed all the time. It's always manager, player, manager. Never, how are we running this club? And we moan about it for a 2 or 3 week period of the year and then get straight back on managers next. It's crazy to me. Comment here says, I need to know from people asking for the sack why any next manager will work with our owners after the way LVG and Moyes, Jose were treated. Do you know what I would say? I kind of have explained it in the video. Maybe I wasn't clear. I believe we've built a club ethos under Ole. They've convinced us of it. They've told us about it. If we maintain a club stature, essentially it's this. I'll boil it down to, you come to work for me at the Football Terrace. I want you to host 3 shows for me. The shows have a structure. This is the time length. This is what we cover. This is how we interact. We do this with the super chats. We do this with the phone-ins. This is what we do. I expect you to bring your personality to our structure, but our structure stays the same. You don't come in and create Oh, I'm not going to do the shows the way you do them, Terry. I'm going to do it my own way. No, you put your personality into our shows. You maintain our structure and ethos with your personality. That's how most successful businesses are. There's a company ethos and structure, and then you put your personal spin on that ethos and structure. You don't join a company and restructure the whole damn thing. You know what I'm going to do? Going to change the branding, going to sack these 10 staff, bring these people. Like, you don't unless it's a failing business, you don't restructure it. And we right now we're on an upwards trajectory. So you need a manager to come in, pick up the reins from Ollie. A few tweaks here and there in the squad, absolutely. You do that with your workforce all the time. But the standards, the ethos, the values have to remain pretty much the same to keep that ship moving in the right direction. If, for instance, what you're saying is right, though, if we get rid of Ollie and we go for whoever and go, right, there's a sledgehammer, the wrecking ball, let's knock it all down, dig up the foundations and start again, we still ain't going to win anything major, and we're not going to have a sustained period of quality football like City and Liverpool are going through now. Just a fact for me as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, you say that, but the Glazers don't have any reason to change their way. They make their cash as it is with no trophies, with the commercial success. Yeah, I know. And if that happens, then there shouldn't be any focus ever on managers being bad. You've literally proved my point again with that chat, my friend. You really have. Everybody that's tuned in and everyone that's joined us this morning, thank you. We're back at 6 p.m. with the next episode of the Bet Victor Show. It's going to be a big night. We're discussing, is Ronaldo taking Man United backwards? Is Mo Salah the best player in the world? What should we expect from big money signings? Do we demand too much from the 80, 90 million pound players? All that tonight at 6 p.m. Make sure you're tuning in. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God